Okay, welcome to the weekly share, the Zera Shimshon, and this week's Parshas Emor. And I had a hard time picking out which piece to take because they were all so good, but I have one that's close to my heart, and I share it with you. I'm going to try to shorten it as best I can, but it's very interesting. And it's now Tes ER. Tafshin Pei David, and it's also the 24th day of the Omer. So the Midrash says by Avram Avinu, Kol ma she'asa Avram Avinu l'malachim, anything that Avram Avinu did to the malachim, asa Kadosh Baruch Hu l'banav shalosh pa'amim. He did it 3 times for his Klal Yisrael. When did he do it? Bamidbar, be'eretz, and Asi Lavai. It says Avram Avinu, by the pasuk says, "V'hi shanu tachas ha'etz." He had the malachim, the Arabim, literally the malachim, though, sit underneath the wood, the tree. What does that mean? Like Kadosh Baruch Hu parah lebana b'midbar, and he paid off his children in the midbar. He says, "Because sukkos, ki b'sukkos I shafti as ben Israel." In sukkos I had the children of Israel sit. And in Eretz Yisrael it says, "Minayin b'sukkos teshu shivas yamim." And in Al Asi Lavoi there's a pasuk in Yeshayahu that says, "Of a sukkah tiyah letzel yomam," and the sukkah, there will be a sukkah as a shade for the day and to prevent the zerem. It means all the bad winds and the and the mazikim. By the way, okay. So furthermore, it says, "Yadua." It's a pasuk in Tehillim. Saviv v'shoyim yisalachun. It's a pasuk in Tehillim base. The mitzvah a sukkah is soida. The side of a sukkah is lahagin aleinu misayneinu. It's to protect us from our enemies. Umin hamazik min sari ha'omais, and from our the damage. Well, the creepy crawlers in the desert, right? Like scorpions and snakes and what are those? And also from the sari ha'omais. Those are the angels in heaven. That the 70 angels that are ruling over the nations. Kedei sheniya mukafim besukkah shalom kanaida. So that will be surrounded by sukkah shalom. Okay? And he goes on to the Omalicha b'midbar agodav hanera nachash sora ve'akrav, and it says yisayvevenhu v'yivayinenehu. It says in Parshas. The last Parshas, the Lamed base, one of the last Parshas in the Torah. And right. Anyway, this is what was with all these kavanas, and Kadosh Baruch Hu never lets anything go unpaid off. Now, did Avram Avinu have a sukkah? He said he was under the tree. Okay, fine. I don't know what that means exactly. I'm not sure he built him a sukkah, but he did a dugma, a sample. So now this is very interesting. This is what the point I wanted to get to. Therefore, kol mekayim mitzvah sukkah. That means how are you mekayim mitzvah sukkah? That is liftoyach b'Hashem, to trust in God. Shezchus mitzvah zu yesh lo koyach lahagin alav. So if you trust in God, it means we're surrounded by the sukkah at 4 walls, or whatever, 3 walls at the minimum, and the roof. It's not such a big protection, but we're trusting that God will protect us under the situation, and that could apply even if we don't have 4 walls and a roof. Okay, we're trusting that Hashem will protect us, even though we see it's not true. Taila Isaac, he attributes it, Hamikra Bilti Tar, something that was not pure, that happened that was not true. Bo Machmasakayach Kafchas Itim Sha'olam Isnaigban. So we know from Koheles that there's 28 times. You can look in Koheles 3, all the different times that are in the world, that the misnag b'hem eating the taiva eating the ra. Sometimes it's good, sometimes it's not so good, right? And therefore, Al Zeh Omar HaKadosh Baruch Hu Mikayim HaMitzvah Yoshev V'Seil Sukkah Shabbatach V'Sheyesh B'Kayach L'Hagin Alav. So this is where he sits in the shadow of the Sukkah, which he trusts in God, that he protects him at all times. V'Harini Meisich Alav Michamasai Shal Yom Haba. And he protects him from the day to come. That future world will not be conducted according to these hours, only according to merits. And this is how we explain with the Gemara. The Midrash asks, Ma makshim ha'olam, ama she'omar kosav. It says a pasuk in Vayikra, Laman yedu dorasechem ki besukkos hashaftes ben Yisrael. But you should, in order for that, you should know, have knowledge. I mean, knowledge means deep knowledge that for all generations that God put us into sukkos. The mi hechricham le'diazu. Who forced them to have this knowledge? V'dilma hi mitzvah shemitzvah tziva HaKadosh Baruch Hu. That maybe it's not a knowledge that we have to do. It's a mitzvah that God Baruch Hu said, you got to sit in sukkah 7 days. Maybe it's some secret reason that we don't know. It's not revealed to us, but you got to do the mitzvah anyway. Tefillin, where do we know what it connects us to? How do we know? But now we say, since the Midrash says that the sukkah protects us from our enemies and from all kinds of damagers, so then to have that knowledge at the time you're fulfilling this mitzvah is important. It's absolutely important. If because of God's love protects us with this mitzvah, even though we're not in a dangerous location. If we were in a dangerous place in the midbar, when we run out of Egypt, there's all kinds of damaging animals there, snakes, or scorpions, who knows? All kinds of things that could damage us, and not one time they happen. And furthermore, it says this is the midrash I wanted to get to. So bear with me. So pasuk has to say, and the Gemara in Sukkah brings it in the Chasayin, the gerim are chayav in Sukkah. What's the chiddush? Aren't they Jews? V'nafkaluhu miksiv. It says called ha'ezrach l'rabbi sisakirim. Everybody that's ha'ezrach. Now we in Israel know what ezrach is. You're a citizen. Okay, it includes the gerim. Okay, v'lefi divrei hazoyar. But according to the Zohar in Parshas Kisisa, the Erev Rav hoyu gerim lo niklutu tachas oisam asukas. Well, 1 second. The Erev Rav, who were supposedly gerim from Moshe Rabbeinu, they weren't brought under the sukkahs, the ananei hakavod. They weren't included. They had to stay out. In Cain minaden sheyu gerim paturim in mitzvah. So minaden, the other gerim should also be patur. The loy miskayim behu laman yedu, because they didn't fulfill the deep understanding of knowing, the knowledge of being protected. However, says Hateretz is the fisha kadosh baruch hu hayaraitza misha Moshe yikabel Yisrael. Well, the Teretz is Moshe wanted to accept him as the Erev Rav as gerim, but loyratza, but because Baruch Hu didn't like it. Loyratza nami shiyu mukafi makes mitzel kadosh baruch hu. God didn't want him to be protected. But the difference in future generations of all the Gerim, and they were by Har Sinai also, by the way, so the Torah was makpid that they should be fulfilling this mitzvah, so that they should be saved from every possible evil. I remember when I was in the 73 ward in Bnei Brak. At that time, the Stipler was the Rosh. He was the head of the community and all since the Gadol Ador, and it was Sukkot, and he said everybody should stay in their sukkah because of this measures. We're protected, guys. Unbelievable. They were throwing bombs there. I said they were protecting us. It says, oh, this is a famous Gemara in the Avodah Zarah and Gav Gimel. God's going to say, they have tainas who say, well, you didn't test us, you didn't give us a mitzvah, so okay, take the mitzvah sukkah, see what you can do. Okay, and he gives them the mitzvah sukkah, and then he takes the sun out of its sheath, and it gets really hot, and they run away from the sukkah and they kick it as they're going out. But Dafka, why did they give him this mitzvah? Why not some other mitzvah that's easier? Why did he take out the sun and burn him up the sukkah, right? So he says, the whole idea is to protect those that sit in the sukkah from punishments and bad things to happen to them. So he gave them this mitzvah to see if they could be protected. However, but the Jewish people who sometimes they're not protected every single minute, okay? So it could happen that they will still sit in the sukkah be'amunah bitachon and still rely on HaKadosh Baruch Hu for everything. Therefore, when the non-Jews go out of the sukkah, not only did they leave, but they kicked the sukkah. They said, well, the sukkah doesn't protect us, okay? Like Rashi says in Perek Kama de Rosh Hashanah, and that person that nice and sell it at tzedakah b'shil sheyichya b'ni. There's a Gemara that says somebody gives him tzedakah in order that his son should live. It's a mitzvah. But if something bad happens to them in their life, they'll say, okay, they're not going to complain. They don't complain to Kadosh Baruch Hu. They say, well, that's what Kadosh Baruch Hu wanted. They attribute these Yisurim to their sins, or some sin that somebody did. But it says there in the Mishnah, in the Gemara, but if a guy doesn't get what he asked for, he's kairei tagar. There's an expression for he complains, and that's why we don't protect them in the sukkah either. Okay, just remember that the sukkah is a protection for everybody, and you can walk around in the sukkah by having bitachon and yediyah, the knowledge that Kadosh Baruch Hu is protecting us at all times until Bias Mashiach b'mheira b'yameinu. Amen.